So, good evening, ma'am. So, we'll start the session. I'll introduce you with our participants who are joining us from different colleges of India. So, we are welcoming you on this small platform. So, I welcome you, ma'am. Uh, Dr. Shreya, ma'am. She completed her BNYS from SDM College in the year of 2010, and she had completed her MD in clinical yoga from the SDM College in the year of 2014, and she is having about from 2011 she started teaching in SDM in other colleges in my S. Vyasa University also as an associate professor and a medical officer at Arogyadhama S. Vyasa. Now currently she is the deputy medical director at our own hospital, Ayan Shiok Nature Cure Hospital, Kathmandu, Nepal. And from the year of 2018, I welcome you, ma'am, on this small platform so we can start today's discussion on the topic of understanding the modern subjects
Okay.
as perspectives. Thank you, ma'am.
Shall we start?
Ye-
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we
I
can
guess there is
start.
some network issue. Okay. Thank you, Bhavit, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm actually excited to interact with the BNY students, which I was missing since 2 years. And in fact, Bhavit himself suggested this topic that how a modern subject can be understood by BNY students. And I felt this topic is actually a good one to deal with and which is very much important to know. And I would like to make slight modification in the topic. If I'm not audible, please let me know. I would like to make slight modification in the topic. It's not just about understanding the modern subject, also about understanding our own subjects, be it naturopathy or yoga subjects, and also how to correlate the modern subjects with our subjects, that is naturopathy or yoga subjects. Okay, so I'm not very senior or experienced one to go in depth, but still I shall try my best in what way I could relate the modern subjects with our subjects, and how I used to teach by correlating the modern subject with our subjects to the students. Since I was teaching pathology for 3 years in SVSR to the students, I tried my best to correlate the pathology with the traditional system of medicine, that is some of the naturopathy principles and yoga principles. So I'll brief about it, and with some illustration I shall explain. And let us make this as an interactive session. So with my limited knowledge, I shall share how I have understood and how I'm applying it right now. Currently, I'm into clinical practice, how I'm applying with my understanding of these subjects. And after my session, like after I share my knowledge, you are free to ask question. Not only asking question, you're also free to share your understanding, like how you are studying. You might be having some new ideas that this can be related, or this can be understood in this way, or this particular thing or this particular concept can be applied in this way into clinical practice or in academics or research, however it is. Okay, so let's start. Like coming with the starting with the basic subjects. Coming to the first year of BNYS, we have anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, basics of yoga we study, and also basics of naturopathy. So when to understand or to apply these subjects into clinical practice, first of all, we should be knowing or reading the subjects or understanding its concept. So most of the students, what they do, they search for notes, they depend on notes rather than reading for.
Ma'am, your voice got disconnected. Sorry for the interruption. Wait for 2 minutes.
Okay. Am I visible and am I audible now? Sorry, there was some interruption in between, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is clear.
Okay, fine. So where was I? Regarding notes and the textbooks. Yeah. So most of the students, what they do, they go in search of notes, either with the seniors or with the friends, or they even ask notes with their lecturers or teachers. So what I would suggest to you is, please go for reading textbooks. The more you read books in detail, in depth, and the more you refer different textbooks of particular subject, you will understand the concept. So what do you mean by concept? Understanding the basis. So once you understand the basis, you'll form a firm foundation. So once you form a firm or strong foundation, then understanding the higher subjects, that is when you go to second year, third year, fourth year, and after you complete your BNYs, when you go for higher studies, or when you're into practice or into work, you'll be able to correlate the subjects in a better way, and also you'll be able to put the. Am I not audible? Someone message that I'm not audible.
You are audible. You are clear, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. So once the uh, foundation is firm, then you'll be able to correlate or put that into practice in a better way. So later, once you finish your BNYs, whether you go into higher studies, after that, whether you enter into academics, clinicals, research, all three of that, basis should be firm. Okay. So once you have a strong foundation, then same thing with the building. If there is if the base is not strong, the however tall building is, it cannot be strong. Same way, if your basics are not strong, then you'll find difficult in the future, in the later, whether when you study modern subjects, or whether you are into clinical practice or into academics or research, you'll find difficult not to correlate. So once you form your basics strong, then it will be easy for you. You will have many ideas, you will get many thoughts like, oh, this can be correlated, this can be applied in a this way. So I would suggest you to go read textbooks. Anatomy, read textbooks. There are different authors of anatomy, Gray's Anatomy. You read Snell's. Just don't stick to Chaurasia. That is good, no, for exams and all that. You read Chaurasia. Along with that, there are many other reference books for anatomy. Read anatomy, physiology. There are many, again, many textbook, biochemistry. Then whenever you read books, you should always have a questioning mind. For example, anatomy, how anatomy is important, how better I should be knowing anatomy, how it will be helpful. When you have this questioning mind, when you ask question to yourself, then there will be better understanding of the subject. So when I was into teaching, when I was into academics, I always used to tell students that always ask questions to yourself or to me. It's not that I'll be able to answer to all your questions. Ask whatever questions it might be related to subject or related to the field. If I do not know, then definitely I'll refer the your question, and I'll come back with you next day with the answer. That's what I used to tell my students. That is, encourage students or encourage your friends, and if you are a senior, encourage your juniors to question. The more they question, the more you question to yourself or to whoever, your teacher, the better understanding it will be. Okay, so first develop interest, question, then start reading. The more you concentrate on understanding the concept, the better knowledge you will get of that particular subject. Now, coming to the other modern subjects, like I'll take some examples from pathology subject, since I was teaching that subject for 3 years. So when I was teaching pathology subject, so I was trying to correlate that with the other concept of disease. So pathology talks about the disease, how the mechanism takes place, how the disease mechanism or the different etiological factors. So I used to compare that with the other subjects. For example, take the basic subject, that is philosophy of nature cure. So how many of you have read the Henry Lindlar book completely? I sure that only few of you or some of you. What happens, maybe some seniors may tell that it's not required to read a whole book. These are the important, read only important ones. So being student, most of us, what we do, we read only important things and prepare ourselves for exam. Life is concentrate mainly on anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, because these are vast subject. And PNC you can just spend 1 day or 2 days and you can finish it. That is fine. But PNC, that is, if you read Henry Lindlar book in detail, you will get to know many things. It's not just the philosophy. In fact, it is a science. You will get to know many things. The book written by Henry Lindlar, Nature Cure book, the book name itself is philosophy, but there is so much of hidden science behind it. You will understand that hidden science only when you understand the modern subject in a better way, and wherein you can compare. I'll give you an example. So what Henry Lindlar says, what that book says, the the main cause for disease, or the primary cause of disease, is lowered vitality and abnormal composition of blood and lymph, and accumulation of morbid matter and poison in a system. So how you can relate? So when we say the same thing in front of so later when we work, we if we happen to work in a multi-specialty hospital, where we in a condition to answer the modern medicine practitioner. So if we say that no, there is a lowered vitality, accumulation of blood, abnormal composition of blood and lymph, accumulation of morbid matter and poison in the system, they might not understand. So that's why they say we don't have a scientific explanation. There is no evidences. Of course, there were no much of evidences before, but now there are many research studies being done to show the evidences. But here I'll be telling how you can correlate even in a simple aspect. So lowered vitality. So vitality, we can compare it in the form of immunity. Again, vitality is not only the immunity. Vitality is something beyond immunity. Immunity is a part of vitality. So I'm just giving you example how you can correlate with the uh, these philosophical explanation. So previously they didn't had these terminologies to explain. So what they have explained, what they have written in the Henry Lindlar book is absolutely scientific. Only thing is the terms what they have used is different from the terms what we come across in the modern subject. So that's the reason understanding modern subject in detail, and also understanding our subjects, the naturopathy and yoga subject in detail, is very much important, so that you can correlate in a better way. So lowered vitality, wherein you can give the example of immunity. Now immunity plays a very important role, all of you know. Now the immunity word has become famous, and even you can hear this word immunity from a layman mouth because of this COVID-19. So immunity, which all of us have, it is a God gift. Only thing is we are failing to maintain it. If immunity becomes overactive, then we end up with the autoimmune diseases. If immunity is low, then we end up, or we suffer from communicable disease. So there are many ways. If we talk about immunity, it's vast. So lowered vitality, you can compare it with immunity. Again, vitality is again beyond immunity, as I said. Abnormal composition of blood and lymph. So what is this abnormal composition of blood and lymph? Again, you can correlate. For example, increased blood glucose level. Of course, glucose will be present in the blood, the normal, which is being 70 to 110 milligram per deciliter. But if it goes beyond that, it is abnormal, right? Leading to diabetes, increased blood sugar level, again, which is abnormal, abnormal composition of blood, increased cholesterol level in the blood. This is how you can correlate. Then coming to accumulation of morbid matter, poisons, waste in the system. Again, giving few examples like coronary artery disease, wherein the atherosclerotic plaque, then coronary artery of the heart, then gout, where uric acid gets accumulated in the joints, then even mental health, the accumulation of excess of negative thoughts is also accumulation of morbid matter in the mind. Now the mental health issues have become more common now. Many people are suffering from anxiety, depression. Okay, so that is also an example of accumulation of morbid matter in the mind. infection, lots of negative thoughts, which turns into toxins. So this is how you can correlate. Okay, these are the few example. Again, coming to the other example like inflammation, which again I have taken from pathology. So if you second year students, if you read inflammation in general pathology, inflammation is also explained in Henry Lindlar. So read, compare the inflammation given in pathology, modern pathology text, and compare inflammation which is explained in the Henry Lindlar book. Its explanation is same. Only thing is it is explained in detail using different terms in a modern way in modern pathology, whereas it is explained in a different way using different terminologies in a Henry Lindlar book. Okay, but they are the same. What it says, for example, the modern pathology also says acute inflammation is a protective mechanism of the body. Body is trying to protect itself from harmful agent, whether it is infectious agent or anything which is not suitable to the body. What Henry Lindlar says, acute disease or acute inflammation is a protective mechanism. So what we do, the difference is in the management. For example, what modern medicine do, though pathology itself is saying that it is a protective mechanism, same protective mechanism has been suppressed by giving anti-inflammatory drugs. But they will have to think, what can we do here? Is it required to suppress the inflammation? No, if it is suppressed, if acute inflammation is suppressed, then gradually it progresses to chronic inflammation. Again, here in our system, we are dealing most of the chronic inflammatory conditions. All lifestyle disorders are chronic inflammatory, be it diabetes, inflammatory condition, or lifestyle disorder, obesity, again, inflammatory, PCOD, inflammatory, hypertension, inflammatory, cardiovascular disease or coronary artery disease, inflammatory. Okay, that will deal later. Now, coming to this example, acute inflammation, protective mechanism. So what modern medicine does, it tries to suppress by giving anti-inflammatory or antihistamine. Again, acute inflammation example, I would like to take common cold. So as per Henry Lindlar, common cold is a, or as per the naturopathy principle, common cold is a acute condition where it is an eliminative process. Okay, so where body is trying to eliminate the toxins in the form of cold, because the natural eliminative organs are blocked in some way. The body is trying to throw the toxins in the form of common cold. But what modern medicine does, what we do, either we take anti-allergic tablet or antibiotic or antihistamine, and there it is suppressed. But how different it is in our system, we assess the elimination. Okay, so to the body by different naturopathy or yoga treatments. So that is the difference, understanding the. So this is one example, acute inflammation. So though it is saying that it is body's protective mechanism, but the mode of the management is different, where the medicine try to suppress that suppression, again leading to chronic. If acute inflammation is not treated well, it progresses. If it is suppressed, it progresses to chronic inflammation. In us, that's how we need to understand. In naturopathy, what it says, acute inflammation or acute disease is the elimination. Body is trying to eliminate. So our body has such a good innate healing capacity. No, it tries in all the ways, it tries its level best to heal itself. Only thing is we need to understand it and we need to assist it. That's what we study in our system. So again, what is this coronary artery disease? That is nothing but, again, it is a protective mechanism. Some injury has happened in the artery. So what happens, all the macrophages, neutrophils, why they come, those they are called as inflammatory substance, they all come to protect that particular area. But what happens, because we don't treat it, we do not deal it in a better way, we try to suppress it, those substance itself will get accumulated, form atherosclerotic plaque, leading to coronary artery blockages. Then person will come to know only when he gets the warning signal in the form of MI, that is myocardial infarction, or in common term we call it as heart attack. Then he'll go to cardiologist because he got heart attack. Then cardiologist will see how much blockage is there in the artery, how many coronary arteries are blocked. Depending upon that, the management goes on, whether the surgery, that is they do angiography, then how much blockage is there, as per that surgery goes on. So but still we can, our system also plays role in that is reversing heart disease. Before it was no difficult. Now the reversing heart disease, reversing diabetes has become better now with the evidences, and people are actually getting reversed with the from their diseases. So this is one example how you can correlate with the modern subject with our uh, subjects. So I would request all of you to read. There are many naturopathy textbooks. I don't remember the author's name now. uh, please read all those books. Reading philosophy, you can bring science into that. We are the one who can add science into that. Uh, People previously, the ancient authors, they were scientific. Only thing is they were not, they didn't use those particular terminologies. So here we are to add the scientific. So the same research is going on to give the evidences, to explain in the scientific terms of what is actually been explained in the philosophical book. So philosophy of later we can, some of us can write the science of nature cure, so that term can be changed. So philosophy of nature cure is not just a philosophy, it is actual practice, if you see. And another thing you can relate is, so I suggest you to read the book completely. You can, everything is given, you can actually correlate in a better way. So now if you go to any naturopathy hospital, they talk about lifestyle. So again, if you see lifestyle, it is given in the Henry Lindlar book, Nature Cure book. Only thing is that term lifestyle is not mentioned. What is lifestyle? Again, it is right eating, about sleep, then physical activity, stress. It has spoken about emotions, our mental stress. So all this is about lifestyle. Only thing is it has not used the term lifestyle. So this is how you can compare. Then coming to the other our subjects, yoga subjects. First I'll talk about this, then I'll say how you can compare those with the modern subjects. Coming to yoga subjects, like Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Most of the students get aversion with the Patanjali Yoga Sutras book because they find difficult to understand the sutras, the shlokas, the meaning. That's fine. What I would suggest you is, again, that Patanjali Yoga Sutra is not just a philosophy. Again, it has a lots of science hidden in it. You can apply the Patanjali Yoga Sutra into clinical practice very well. So if you're finding difficult to read shlokas or the meaning of it, go for reading description first. Understand what it has described, and just ask a question to yourself, what Patanjali has tried to say through shlokas. For whom he has given shlokas? He has not written those books. He has not given those shlokas for those who want to attain the higher state, or it is not just for spiritual aspirants, it is also for the layman people. So just ask question to yourself, what Patanjali has tried to tell through shlokas. If you read in detail, you will, again, he has spoken about health and disease. Okay, so what Patanjali says, most of the disease arise from our mind. Bhagavad Gita also tells the same thing. If you see Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita also has spoken about health and disease. It has spoken about the mental health. It has spoken about the diet. Bhagavad Gita has spoken about the food. It has spoken about the sleep. It has also spoken about our total lifestyle behavior. So being yoga student, I request all of you should be reading Bhagavad Gita. It's not that you have to remember shloka and you have to tell even to patients whoever comes, telling shloka is necessary. No, applying it into clinical practice is very much important. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita is also science. Patanjali Yoga Sutras, first read the description, then you read shloka and its meaning. That will be more clear. Okay, and remembering shlokas is required for exam purpose, and even after, if you remember shlokas and tell, it will be authentic. Okay, so when you tell shlokas, it gives a kind of weightage. So not just the telling shlokas is again very much important, and if you read it in a better way, you can apply it in a better way. If you understand it in a better way, you can apply it in a better way. Okay, so all the modern subjects, what all we have in our course, everything is required. So that's why you ask question to yourself: physiology, why are we reading physiology? How is it important? If you do not understand physiology, you will not understand pathology in a better way. So biochemistry, if you are not clear with the biochemistry, if you do not understand the concept of biochemistry, the further subjects, the again, the physiology is related to pathology, biochemistry is related to pathology, nutrition. Later, when you come to third year, final year, nutrition. If you see, read nutrition, proteins, carbohydrates, all everything is from biochemistry. So knowing basic is very much important. So ask question: how biochemistry can be applied in a clinically? Again, I'll give you example. So a patient comes to you with anemic patient, so you'll find iron is deficient. So will you just give iron rich food? So if you understand the better biochemistry, along with iron rich food, you will also give vitamin C rich food. Why vitamin C rich food? Because vitamin C is required for absorption of iron. Same way, calcium, osteoporotic, osteoarthritis, calcium, you will give calcium, you will suggest calcium rich food, fine. But for that calcium sorry, for that calcium to absorb, you need what? Vitamin D. So that is, sorry, so that is how you correlate. So understanding biochemistry is very much important to understand nutrition and other subjects. Then coming to modern diagnosis subject, which you'll be studying in third year, right? Modern diagnosis and emergency medicine, fine. Diagnostic part is very much important. uh, Most of the patients who come to us, they come with the reports, right? So the one aspect where our system is little behind is in diagnostic part, because most of the patient who comes to us, because if they have any problem, the first doctor they approach is the allopathic doctors, and finally they'll be fed up with the medicine, and with the, keeping the last hope, they come to us. Even here, I'm into clinical practice since 2 years. They come, most of the cases which comes to our hospital is painful condition, they back pain cases. Most of the back pain cases comes to our hospital, OA, RA. So they come with the lots of medicines, lots of and the reports. So it's, they already come with the diagnosis, and they in fact say, I have this problem and I want treatment for that. Okay, so we lag a step behind. But if you work in a multi specialty hospital, understanding the diagnostic part plays very important role, and we'll get to learn many things. Modern studying modern diagnosis subject is also very much important. We'll know what are the different ways to the diagnose different diagnostic tools. And we also have a naturopathy diagnosis, ND, facial diagnosis, the iris diagnosis. I'm not into that practice, to be frank. So again, you can compare that with the naturopathy diagnosis. Then emergency medicine. We don't practice emergency medicine. Is it required to study emergency medicine? Yes, of course it is required. Even though we are not practicing emergency medicine, it is not our part. We should be knowing which cases can be referred, which emergency condition can be referred to the hospital, to the allopathy hospital. We should be knowing that. So knowing emergency medicine, wherein we'll be studying first aid. Also first aid, we can also do it, whichever is possible. Otherwise, knowing emergency medicine is also very much important, because we should be in a condition, okay, this is now it is the condition of the patient wherein I can't treat, refer it. So we should be knowing this is the condition of the patient. Now I'll not be able to treat it, refer. Okay, so for example, you'll be treating patient, you have an inpatient in your hospital, you'll be treating. In between, some emergency condition comes, there is no problem in referring. We should be referring. It's not that I cannot handle it, that's fine. The life of patient is important. It's not that I only have to treat and all that, nothing of that sort. So knowing emergency medicine is also very much important. Pharmacology, Fortunately, now pharmacology subject is been added in US colleges. We didn't had that subject. Later, during internship, we got to study about that subject, and also we keep referring pharmacology, and which is required. Pharmacology, we don't prescribe medicine. Why is it required to study pharmacology? It is required again because most of the patient who comes to us, they come with these many tablets. So we should be knowing what for these tablets, whether what problem they are having right now, is it because of the side effects, all that. And not only just because of that we need to know pharmacology. When you study pharmacology, we study the mechanism of the drug of action. In that way you can think, so this drug action is this way, whether we have any food or any other mechanism in our system that it can act in this way, and whether we can replace this medicine with our no treatment. In that way also you can think and study pharmacology. How that's how you can relate pharmacology with the our treatment aspect. Okay, so knowing pharmacology is important, because when patient comes to you with the medicine, you cannot ask patients to stop the medicine. That all of you know, because because we are starting with our treatment, we cannot ask patient to stop the medicine. At the same time, we should be knowing, because for example, a diabetic patient who is already on anti-glycemic or hypoglycemic tablets, and if when we give hypoglycemic diet, there is a chance of hypoglycemia, leading to the other complications. Patient can even go to coma. In that case, we should be knowing what dose he's taking and what hypoglycemic diet we are giving. So tapering the medicine along with our treatment goes hand in hand in that case. That's why knowledge of pharmacology is very much required. Then the other modern subjects, if I forget, you let me know, remind me. The one more beautiful subject, obstetrics and gynecology. Our system plays very nice, a beautiful role in this. Again, obstetrics and gynecology subject is vast, yet beautiful subject. If you take gynecological disorder, again, you think uh, what diseases we can handle. There are many: dysmenorrhea, uh, premenstrual syndrome, PCOD, which has become so common now, that can be dealt very well without any medications. Then coming to obstetrics, the pregnancy, how the journey of pregnant women can be dealt very well. A health of the pregnant women can be dealt very well with our naturopathy and yoga. Yoga for pregnancy plays very important role on healthy mother and baby. Then natural birthing, before it was practiced widely, again it got diluted. Now again the natural birthing centers are coming up, where the mothers are assisted to go for natural delivery. So the obstetrics, we have a very good role in obstetrics, and also we can treat many gynecological disorders. Only thing is, we need to know that all comes by practice. It's not that we have to treat all the cases. We have our own limitation. Every system of medicine have their own benefits and limitation. So this all comes by exposure to clinical practice, by exposure to different cases, that what cases we can handle well, what cases we can treat confidently. Okay. So knowing this is not just for clinical practice. Maybe some are more into academics. Like me, I was more interested into academics than clinical practice. But now we don't have any colleges here, so now I'm completely into clinical practice. Whether be it in your academics, be it in your clinicals, research, there are many hospitals which has attached the research department. So be it any field, knowing the concept or understanding the subjects in a better way is very much important. For example, in future, later, if you enter into academics, then how you handle whatever subjects you are given, how you deliver that knowledge to a student is very much important. So if you are going to into academics, my suggestion is, never give notes to students. If you are thinking that you are helping students by giving notes, no, that is wrong. I never give notes. If students are taking notes in class, that is up to them, fine. Always encourage students, or if you are senior, encourage juniors. If you find your friend reading only notes, encourage them to read textbooks. The more books you read, the better concept you understand. Read books and make notes of your own that will have value, and you will understand it better. And use read those notes during exam. Otherwise, understand, to gain knowledge, books should be read, not the notes. So if you are into academics, uh, teach, give the concept to the students. Don't sit and dictate the notes. Always teach, give the different reference books so that they read, they collect the different information and make the notes by themselves. And always encourage students to ask the questions. Okay, so sometimes the teacher feel insecure, oh, if I cannot answer their question. That's okay, no one is perfect. Now I don't know what kind of questions I get after my session. I may answer some, I may not be able to answer some. If I'm not able to answer some of your question, leave me your contact or the email ID. I would definitely refer and come back to you. No one is perfect. So learning goes on lifelong. So when I was into teaching, I was trying my best to deliver the knowledge to the students. At the same time, I was learning more. So the very good smart questions what student used to ask, some I used to able to answer, some not. I used to go back, refer, and then give answer to them. That made me learn many things. So when you ask questions in classroom, so not only you, the teacher also learns, your friends also learns in a better way. So not only just in the class, when you study by yourself. So when you sit in room and study, always study in a with a questioning mind. Question yourself, why this, why that, how this, how is that. So you may not get answer for few, but for most of your question you will be getting answer only if you have a questioning mind. You should have thirst to know the things, you should have a quest, you should have a questioning mind. Only when you question, you will get to know the many things. Before questioning, you should develop interest. Okay, so when I joined SVASA, I thought, because I did MD in clinical yoga, I thought I'll be getting only the yoga related subject to teach. But as soon as I joined there, principal offered me pathology. You have to take pathology subject. But I didn't deny. I said yes. But it was like little challenging for me. Pathology, fine. But I developed interest, and I tried my best to make the subject easier. And I not only I was just going what was given in pathology, but I was trying best to relate with the other subjects, like how we can apply it, how we can correlate. So as I gave example now, like inflammation in pathology, inflammation in the nature cure book, compare it, then how is it different in management. And the example what I would like to give is Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is also again, which is a wonderful book. In Hatha Yoga, they have, if you read each shloka and description, it has given what food is good for health, what food is not good, maintain health, what all has to be done, and how disease up. So one thing what Hatha Yoga Pradipika says, uh, if one system of our body is disturbed, then automatically the other system is disturbed. So you treat one system, then automatically the other system of the body comes into balance. That is very true. That point is very true. Please, in the starting few pages of the Hatha Yoga book, it is given. Please go through that. That is give health to one system, automatically all the other system will be healthy or in balance. The lifestyle diseases or the inflammatory diseases, all are related to the gut. Diabetes, there is disturbance in the gut. PCOD, disturbance in the gut. Hypertension, CAD, obesity, there is disturbance in the gut. That's why when we treat all these diseases, we go for lifestyle modification. That is food, physical activity, everything. That is, if gut is disturbed, every other system is disturbed. Take autoimmune disease, RA, that is rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, sorry. All those again depends on the gut. If gut is treated well, automatically these are treated. So read about leaky gut. There is something called as leaky gut, and gut skin axis, gut brain axis. So all is related to gut. I know most of you might be knowing our gut is called as the second brain. After the brain, the most of the nervous plexus are present in our gut. So if gut health is maintained, the other system is maintained, which was already told in our tradition books, but they didn't mention anything about gut microbiome or uh, gut brain axis. They didn't use any of this term. Okay, they just said they were knowing that how the disease come, how it has to be treated. Only thing is the approach was different, the explanation was different, and here we are to correlate. Okay, so why is it required to correlate? We have our own way of explanation, we have our own way of diagnosis, fine. Why is it required to correlate? Is it, we'll let us study modern subject in its own way, let us study our subject in its own way. Is it required to correlate? Definitely it is required to correlate. We are lagging a step behind only because we are not able to explain the scientific world. Now everyone asks for, even a layman person asks and come, what is the scientific explanation for this? Okay, so because we are lacking somewhere in the scientific explanation, and that's why we are a step uh, behind. But now comparing before, the awareness is more, we are into a good position, wherein we are able to treat patients or convince the people, convince even able to convince some of the allopathic doctors. In fact, they are saying most of the allopathic doctors, they started writing intermittent fasting in their prescription. So some patients who come to our clinic, we see along with the medicine, if they write physiotherapy, all that for painful condition patient, and last they write intermittent fasting. I don't know how far they are very clear with intermittent fasting, but now intermittent fasting has become the popular one. Everyone uh, uh, say fasting, that is intermittent fasting. So even allopathic doctors are into our system. Okay, so I think I went beyond the time. There are many more to talk, okay, but I gave few illustrations where there are many more things where you can compare. So always it is important to correlate the modern with the uh, our subjects. Okay, so we should be understanding the subjects in such a way that we should be able to simplify it and explain it to a layman, that is patient. No, some patient comes and of course they'll be curious, doctor, how this works. So when we give acupuncture, obviously they have curious, we just prick needles and how our pain goes. So they are so curious, doctor, how this works. So we should be able to explain even to a common person. So how will we, when we'll be able to explain in a better way? Only when we can understand the subject in a better way. At the same time, we should also be able to explain the medical faculty in a scientific way. So that's why understanding and having a depth knowledge of subject is very much important. So now it's already 1 hour. I would stop my talk. Now, whoever wants to share their view or ask questions, please let us start question and answer session. Otherwise, I keep on talking because the subject is like, you can tell many things on this. Fine. I think Bhavit, you can collect the questions and put forward,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
whoever wants to share anything
Yeah, they can
regarding their.
unmute. They can unmute, then they can ask you directly. If anyone is interested. So
Okay,
anyone
no
in this
questions.
session, we'll wait for like 2 or 3 minutes. If anyone is having questions regarding the session or there are any doubts out there, so they can ask or they can put in the chat box your questions. So we'll read and answer the questions.
If no questions, you can at least share your view. Like some of you can give some more examples or illustrations that how modern subject or the some of the aspect of modern subject can be related to our subjects. Some of you can share. I would be happy. Anyone, please come forward and you can share. Okay, here I got a question. How exactly we use anatomy for the, oh,
I'll put it forward, ma'am, so it will be easy for you.
okay, how exactly we use anatomy for further studies? I'm first year, ma'am. Like where and all we use anatomy because it's very deep. Yeah, knowing, yes, these subjects are vast, and you people are lucky enough that your first year is for 1.5 years. When we were in BNYS, it was just 1 year, and even we were into that, difficult stage that how to complete this anatomy, how to complete this physiology within a year. Is it possible? Okay, so in fact you people are fortunate enough that you have 1.5 years to read these subjects. Knowing anatomy is very much important here, because see, a patient come with the x-ray. Of course we are not a radiologist, not to be expert to know each and everything in x-ray or MRI, but to be too simple, where which is ulnar, which is radius bone, to know that, to identify that, we should be knowing anatomy, right? Then to know physiotherapy, you should be knowing, you have physiotherapy subject in final year. To know the physiotherapy in a better way, you should be knowing anatomy. Massage therapy, you should be knowing anatomy, right? Then what else? Yes, knowing anatomy is very much important, because when patient comes to you, we should be able to read, identify the x-rays, at least normal x-ray, the abnormal one we should be able to differentiate. MRI, again, we cannot, like radiologist, we cannot see the depth, but at least some the gross changes we should be knowing only if we have a proper anatomy knowledge. Then ma'am, as you say, our system help in cardiac arrest, can you tell more about it? I didn't say our system help in cardiac arrest. I said we can treat cardiovascular disease, that is coronary artery disease, in a better way. If there is emergency myocardial infarction or heart attack, it will be better to refer, as per me. Okay, any more questions? There is an knowing anatomy in depth will help in better understanding of physio and biochem. Yeah, all are related. Again, by anatomy, if you don't understand, you get confused in the physiology. You should be knowing anatomy and the physiology. Okay. Then ma'am, I'm in second year, we have to study pathology, so there are many diseases to learn about. So ma'am, I want to ask till how much extent we need to study about a particular disease for a naturopath. That's what. Let us not limit ourselves in a particular, for a particular disease. Okay, maybe in future, who knows, you may become expert in treating that disease where other naturopaths might not be treating. Okay, so let us not limit ourselves in while reading subject. Okay, it is, they are vast, fine, so we go as per the syllabus to finish and to write exam, that is fine. But whenever you are free, read almost all the disease. Okay, and later it is up to us as a clinician, that in which we are confident in treating the disease. Otherwise, I would suggest you to read all the disease. Let us not limit in ourselves when it comes to reading the books. Ma'am, can you suggest few more books other than Henry Lindlar to study more basic about philosophy? That's what I'm sorry that no, I don't remember the authors. Like there are other books like written by Shelton, Louis Pasteur, Louis Kuhne. There are facial diagnosis books. There are books on fasting therapy. Okay, so there are many more books. Sorry, I don't remember the author's name. And if you want, I shall definitely refer, and I can mail you the book's name. As you said, ma'am, natural therapy is used for treatment of some gynecological problem. Which mode of treatment are effective? Okay. Again, when we say naturopathy treatment or yoga treatment, I always say let us concentrate on lifestyle modification. Here, what we do in our clinic is also same in our hospital. Though patient is coming for back pain, yes, definitely we give treatment to relieve his back pain or her back pain. At the same time, we also concentrate on their lifestyle modification. So when you see gynecological problem, we don't have a particular protocol, because here what we do not just treat the disease, we treat the patient, we treat a person, our approach is always holistic. Okay, so we always it is better to go for lifestyle modification, concentrate on food. So for example, if patient is coming for dysmenorrhea, definitely it is very much important to relieve the pain. Okay, so it's not you give only symptomatic treatment. That symptomatic treatment can be given by any other doctors. So you give symptomatic treatment, the patient will not have pain, but maybe after 2 or 3 months the patient may get same kind of dysmenorrhea. Every month she may suffer. So it is to work on their lifestyle. That's why always better to work on lifestyle, knowing the details of the patient.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, yes.
ma'am, I would like to ask how can the diagnosis in modern medicine and naturopathy medicine can be correlated? Like, give
Yeah.
us some link about that.
Okay, fine. So I'm not practicing the naturopathy diagnosis. Like I do not check for, to be frank, patient's iris and all that. But of course, the other physical examination I do. What I forgot to tell that chakras. I deal with the chakras of the patient. For example, if as I said, most of the patient what they come to what cases come to us is the back pain case. So along with giving the other treatments, we also give the I also deal with the, especially myself in our hospital, deal with their chakras. So my way of diagnosis is also a yogic way of diagnosis. I don't solely go on a naturopathic diagnosis. So sorry, I don't check for their iris, to be frank, but I go for other physical examination. I go for I also no attempt to diagnose through their chakras. So since I have done the Reiki class also, it is little easier for me to correlate the chakra blockages to that particular diseases. There is another good question here. Ma'am, I'm first year BNYs. How does it help us Yoga Sutras in clinical practice? Yes. Again, to give few examples, Patanjali, what he has given kleshas, right? What are those kleshas? Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. That is, all those are mental afflictions. That is nothing but the mental stress. So same thing here. When patient comes to you, if always patient comes to us with the physical problem, but it is not to treat only the physical, we also should look into their emotions, to what mental stress they are going. So that is how you can correlate. And the other examples what I can give from Patanjali Yoga Sutra is in some shloka he has said that no abhyasa vairagya nirodha, that is abhyasa, that is the consistent practice, and vairagya, that is detachment. How you can apply? Is it only for the spiritual aspirants? No. For example, again, as I said, lifestyle, you will ask patient to follow this particular lifestyle, but how consistent patient person is to follow that particular lifestyle? He has to get detached from particular thing. For example, if he is a person who eats lots of junk food, he has to restrain from himself from eating lots of junk food, because of which he's suffering from this particular disease, and he has to be following the healthy lifestyle, that is abhyasa, that is consistent practice. That is how you can relate and you can apply. So there are many other, so these are the example what I have given you. Like we have there is another question, like we have pharmacology and other subjects where we study the mechanism involved. Why don't we have any subject about mechanism, how naturopathy treatments work on our body? Or there is a subject in our academics. I am a second year student. That's what I said here. They are there if you study in a better way. Only thing is they didn't had that those terminologies to explain in that, how the modern subject explain the mechanism in a step by step. Our subjects have not explained in that way, but we can do now. Now you go to see the updates of research studies. Some research studies on naturopathy have given the mechanism. I hardly see the research studies on naturopathy. I mainly go through yoga things, but there are studies where they have explained the mechanisms and all. And why can't we make it? Why can't you make it? Why can't we all bring out the mechanism? That's why now it is important understanding the correlating the modern subject with the our subject, so that we can come up with the better mechanism. Okay. There is another question. As I'm in second year, I feel forensic medicine very interesting. How can we apply that to our clinical practice? Okay, I'm so sorry, because since forensic medicine was not there in when I was studying BNYS, I cannot correlate that subject to our this one now, because I have not studied that subject, to be frank. But in forensic medicine, as far as I know, and if I'm not wrong, you will come to know, you'll study some of the medical ethics, which is very much important. Okay, for all the doctors to know medical ethics is very much important. I think that is given in the forensic medicine. Okay, and the other things, I'm so sorry, I have not studied that subject to correlate. Ma'am, can you tell me which are the books necessary to study Reiki? Okay, so there are no specific books as such. The person who gives attunement, they have written the books, but definitely you find the research papers on Reiki, and you will find the good PDF on Reiki that you can go through it. Hello, ma'am. Can you explain the correlation between immunity and vitality, if there is? Yes, as I said in the beginning, immunity is a part of vitality, and vitality is much more beyond the immunity. Vitality is not just the immunity, but to explain, to bring it into a grosser aspect, immunity is a part of vitality. So, for example, if there is lowered vitality, we tend to attract disease. That's what our subject explains. Same thing, if our immunity is low. What do you mean by immunity is low? We are not, our body doesn't have a good resistance power to face the antigens. Then we tend to attract the infections. So that is lowered immunity. Okay. Same way, if immunity is not working, not just lowered immunity, but also the abnormal or the exaggerated action of immunity also leads to disease. If vitality is not kept in the normal, in a balanced way, the exaggerated immunity leading to autoimmune diseases, hypersensitivity reactions. So immunity is not just the lowered one. The abnormal, the hyperactivity of immunity also leads to the diseases. There is another question. Ma'am, you said yogic way of diagnosis helps, like chakra. When we understand there is some block of energy, so how it helps to give treatment? Yeah, if you see the chakras, like for example, Muladhara chakra is related to some of the physical disease. Swadhisthana chakra is related to some of the disease and the emotions. Manipura, again, some of the physical diseases related to GI. Muladhara is related to the sacral region, the genital organs. Same, Swadhisthana is also related to the uterus, the genitals, okay, and even the urinary system. So depending, we should know the what emotions are related to the chakras, what emotions are related to the physical what chakras are related to the physical disease. Based on that, we'll come to know how what chakras are blocked. Depending on that, based on that, we deal with that particular chakras in different modalities. What I do in our hospital is I ask patients to meditate on that particular chakra, either by keeping hands, imagining the color of that, and there are also particular mantras. And there are many people who think that chakra is not for common people. Handling chakras or chakra meditation use lots of problem. It is not so. That is actually a wrong concept. Deal with the chakras of the patient. Try to remove the blockages. You will see very good result. That's what I'm doing with my patient, and they are finding very much good, because you just relieve the pain by physiotherapy, acupuncture, and other modalities. And they go back again along with the chakra meditation. I also ask them to do lifestyle changes, which is very much important, because you reduce their pain within a week or 10 days. Again, it may high chances are that it will come back. So we need to deal with the roots. Okay, so take out the blockages, try to change their lifestyle, to ask them to follow the lifestyle, then it would definitely help them. Okay, so that's it. Fine, I hope it was helpful session.
Yes,
Fine.
ma'am. It was so helpful and for everyone, I think so, ma'am. And so thankful for you to come on this small platform with all of us to share your
Thank you.
knowledge.
Thank
And we
you
are,
once again.
thank you, ma'am. And we are hoping like you will come next session with you in some
Sure.
other
If you invite
topics.
me, I'll definitely come.
For sure,
Thank
ma'am.
you
We
for
will.
the, yeah. I love interacting with the students. So I'm happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll end this meeting. Thank you, ma'am.